Yo, parish orphans and retrogrades. Happy Friday. Today is September the 5th. Earlier on in this week, on September the 1st, that would be Monday, Pope Leo met with Father James Martin, S.J., the naughty pet himself.
Can I say you naughty pet?
Seen as a sign of support, this meeting it is, for ministry with LMNOPQ Catholics. This is the title, more or less, of an America Magazine article. Remember, America is the official flagship of the American Jesuits, the Jesbians. And it's written by Gerard O'Connell. And it's about the American Jesbian #1 himself, public enemy #1, Father James Martin. So it's written with a fair view to what Father James Martin's view of the world is. It's a lavender one. It's a one adorned by fruit baskets. It's one that is amenable to the fabulous things in life. And he, James Martin, S.J., had such a cozy relationship with Pope Francis, always being invited there, allowed to talk about his ministry and encouraged in his ministry, that this meeting has been hailed. I've waited 4 days to talk about it. It's been hailed by Catholics, left, right, center, trad, whatever. I'm so bored by all of it, as the same kind of encouragement that Father James Martin was receiving from Pope Francis. And I don't see any other way to look at it. But you'll notice, well, since we're talking about the butt philosopher, Father James Martin himself, we call him the butt philosopher here. There's no way to look at it except for this. You'll notice I haven't mentioned almost anything to do with Pope Leo XIV for almost 3.5 months. I mean, he came in, did a couple shows on him. I think I did a Pope Leo XIII Rerum Novarum show because I know a lot about Rerum Novarum, and it touches on some real issues that are dear to me and dear to Catholic Republic, my first novel, my first book. And then I let it go. I haven't talked about the Pope, the papacy, the papal magisterium, statements out of the papacy, Wednesday audiences, speculation on his first encyclical, which will probably be on AI, meetings, anything, because of a couple things. One, it's boring. 2, it's passé. It was passé before it was news. 3, I've already told you what's going to happen. This is going to be the conservative friendly version of the Francis pontificate, and probably more reasons besides that. Well, that's what's playing itself out. And today's episode is going to be all about, I'm going to read the America Magazine article. You probably already watched 3, 4, 5 podcasts or videocasts or whatever, live streams on it, because I waited in the pocket. I'm not trying to be first. People want my commentary because I prognosticate what popes are going to do, at least the last 7 years. I was able to prognosticate with good accuracy what Pope Francis was going to do and how he was going to do it. That was the impressive part.
Can you talk a little bit about, it's an interesting thing now that we're kind of peeking back into the issue with Pope Leo and just his pontificate in general, since it being so new. Remember back in the day, not so long ago, when the Pope was elevated, the new Pope was elevated to his current position, and Catholic media really had kind of a very strange about face. Initially, everybody was kind of telling the truth. What seemed the facts were out there about the Pope's friends and things we knew about him. And then it seemed like some call got caught, spread out, telling everybody to shut up about the Pope, don't say anything. So now that this comes out, very interesting turnabout I noticed from some people.
Sure. Well, Catholic media is by and large stupid and unprofessional, given our large footprint on the world. I mean, the media, meaning news and commentary, Catholic media is stupid and dunderheaded. If you guys watch Rules for Retrogrades with any regularity, this is my view. I'm not blowing your mind by saying this. It's stupid, dunderheaded, butterfingered, pickleballed, confused all the time, dorky, behind the ball, behind the it's just always 2 steps behind. And given our prominent footprint in the world, demographical footprint in the world, technological footprint in the world, geopolitical footprint in the world. There's no excuse for this. We shouldn't be so fat, lazy, stupid, and smiling like Dopey the dwarf all the time. And yet we just are. The commentators are dorks. The news outlets are by and large. I mean, I like Raymond Arroyo's EWTN show. That's a standout. That's always been a standout for me. Like, wow, this is well done. He's a good commentator. He's pro level, which is why he's on Fox News sometimes. I'm not saying I like Fox News. It's neocon, but he's pro level. That's what I'm saying. And Catholic everything is rarely pro level. Podcasts are a different thing because by definition they're homespun. But just we're lame by and large, and that's my view of basically most Catholic talking heads. And so when Pope Leo was elected in the first week of May, first day of the second week of May, whatever it was weird because, podcasters had done entire shows on who's going to be Pope. And I'd done an entire show or two on who's going to be Pope. And I didn't actually have Prevost as one of the papabili. Other podcasters had. They're like, watch out for this guy. He's going to be bad. Watch out for this guy. He's friends with Supich. Watch out for this guy. He sees himself not only in the Chicago line of Supich, but also Supich and Supich's predecessor. Worse still. Watch out for this guy. He was really good buddies with Francis the last 2 years. Watch out for this guy. He's worked closely with Francis over the last 2 years. Watch out for this guy. He had something to do, some role. It's a little bit unsure still in the demotion of Bishop Strickland. Watch out for this guy. 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 So everyone had done their due diligence because due diligence is easy to do. And then a day or two into the pontificate, some sort of call seemed to go out and all of these lamewads just backed off. And they're like, well, and they were all of a sudden mimetic desire, dopes repeating the same lines. I mean, it's not just a Catholic thing. It's just human beings. Human beings are a herd animal unless they're not. And that's why you watch a show like this. And I'm like, look, I'm pretty poped out, Pope Francis fatigued out. Who's not? But, and everyone knows I was, one of the foremost critics of Francis from the American laity. But like, I'm going to say it once and then I'm going to recede for the summer. Pope stuff gets boring because it's not as exciting as we Catholics like to pretend it is anyway. What's more important has been this thing that secular news has been covering, and secular conservative news, and to some extent secular left news, for what this cultural reawakening in America. I just listened to Tucker Carlson interview Michael Knowles. I might do a review show on that for whatever, 2 hours, 45 minutes. Like fully one half of that interview was just Tucker being from one angle or another, like, Michael, you're a Catholic. What's going on? Remember the 90s? This seemed like the least likely locus in quo for a cultural reawakening. Catholicism, and it's making many converts. What's going on? I've had Elijah Schaefer ask me that. Tim Pool asked me that. They both brought me and Jay Dyer onto their shows because so many people are coming back to the faith. Vanity Fair covered it. American, what is it? The Spectator, something. The American Spectator, CNN. Washington Examiner, CNN came.
Anderson
to our house.
Cooper's people came to your house, to our house, and like interviewed you.
Yeah,
over this. That was wild.
Yeah, so that's more interesting, and it has a lot to do with this. Catholicism is the one true patriarchy. You get ortho bros that are manly, and I like them. They're cool, but they can't talk papacy. Patriarchy without papacy, papacy without patriarchy, so we're the locus in quo for patriarchy, and they know that that's why young men are coming back to the faith. Okay, so that's what I spent my summer doing, being interviewed and traveling around, going to Tim Pool, going to Elijah Schaefer's outfit 2 different times, being interviewed by CNN, And I was going to go out west for a very big show, which had something to do with Catholic integralism. That might come up soon. Very, very big show. But that got postponed. So talking about, the Pope is just very passe. But we're going to talk about the Pope today, and I'm going to say, well, look, I was vindicated. I'm not surprised. I'm not one of these guys that's like, I need to do a whole episode on being surprised. When I make a prediction, it's usually going to be right. I don't make predictions about stuff I don't know. I'll give you an example on that. I can distinguish. Here's what I know Pope Leo XIV is going to do. Here's what I'm not sure. I'm curious. And I always distinguish within distinctions, and therefore I avoid stepping in it too often. So I'm not like spiking the ball in the end zone. It's just obvious why he was here, why he was placed here, who his friends were, who was voting for him, and therefore who he owes. We'll do that in a second. Homeschooling has been going very well. So I started a Catholic homeschooling co-op where one weekend, it's not too late to sign up for it. It's grammar, Latin, and math. We do it from 9 to 12 CST. You can still sign up for this before it gets to be 2, 3, 4 weeks into the homeschool school year. It's amazing.
We have like 13 families, and all of them are sending us emails how much their kids enjoy this.
And literally,
It is really good.
I think it's 15 families, and they're literally all like, I didn't know it could be this good. Like, I didn't know. I heard you talk, marketing is sort of boasting beforehand, antecedent boasting. But again, I don't really boast about stuff that's not boastworthy. So it's easier, and it's smartifying. Easier and in an enhanced way, maximally smartifying, to use a Simpson neologism, for their kids. What's easier, and you get a better education? What's easier in life where you get more? Go to timothyjgordon.com and sign up today for the Catholic homeschooling. The events of the prior week to this one just proved it. Catholic schools are no safer morally or even physically for your kids than public schools. Get them out, get them out, get them out, get them out, get them out. I never give prudential advice, but here's a bit of prudential advice. Get your kids out of school. It's not safe. Go to timothyjgordon.com and sign them up for my homeschool co-op now. I think we still have it. It was $900 for the semester for as many kids as you have. Not per kid, per all your kids.
Some families had like 5 kids sitting there. It's awesome.
Yeah,
we really enjoy it.
I think the ones that got it on discount, I mean, things go on discount at different times. You don't know when the sale's coming up, but I think it was $600 for whatever at that point. So
let me put it on screen real quick and see.
It's really a thing. Catholic homeschooling. I know how to do it. None better. So do that. Also, please support the show. Local supporters out there become like best friends with one another and myself. We just sing Kumbaya all day. Rules for retrogrades.locals. That's how you support the show. And the best way to do it is a monthly amount, $5, $10, $15, $20 per month. We need your help. It's a true, if you watch the show, it's a truly unique perspective. We do unique things that are utterly unlike what other Catholics out there do in the media.
And we do record every single homeschooling day. There's a lot of families that are overseas and that can't meet live. And Tim does interact with his students on email and text as well. So if you have to miss a day on the live homeschooling, everything is recorded.
So that's that. Also, this is a good time for buyers of homes. Go to www.realestateforlife.org, get out of your blue state and get to a red state this fall. Perfect time because it just switched over from being a seller's to a buyer's market because of the corrupt Federal Reserve banking system, which creates this phony baloney business cycle. And they've deigned the powers that be, that now it's going to become, because of their control of the interest rate in the monetary markets, that now it's going to become a buyer's market. So whatever, it's corrupt. It's all very J-ish, but use it to your advantage. Go buy a home now. Buy a home in the blood red swath of states in the American Southeast. Go to realestateforlife.org. All right. So Pope Leo met on Monday with Father James Martin, S.J., the naughtiest man
The
this
naughtiest
side
pet.
of Mississippi. The naughtiest pet. And he does so as a sign of ministry, a support for the ministry of LGBTQ. Sneak preview, Catholics. We got a sneak preview into how different is Pope Leo going to be from Pope Francis. I told you not different, but he's going to feel way different. He's going to give boons to the right, and that he's done some of that, but the meaningful moves will all probably be a continuation of the Francis pontificate. this might be the largest single tell so far that prediction was correct. If you ever doubted me, then you're dead to me. No, I'm just kidding. But you shouldn't have ever doubted that. It's just obvious. The men who gave us this guy are those like what's his face? Great reformer Austin Ivory and Blaise Supich and Cardinal Maradiaga, the Francis crew. They were the ones stumping for Prevost. But they knew that Peter's pence had been dried up. Americans give, what, a third of the money to Peter's pence around the world? It's grossly disproportionately high.
Mm-hmm.
And Americans didn't like Francis. We're a lot of things, but you're never going to accuse us of not being practical, pragmatic. And Francis hated America. Americans disliked Francis. Didn't matter whether you were Catholic or not. Even leftist Catholics didn't really much like Francis by the end. He was just a pretty universally, I won't say hated figure, but whatever the word is that a faithful son of the church can use. He was a very unpopular figure with pretty much everyone by the end. He was hot-tempered and would yell at people and call them shit eaters and all kind. I mean, literally, he's just the least Pope-like guy I've ever heard of, and I know church history quite well. So. And even Prevost's brothers were saying he's just going to be Francis too. So what I didn't know, what I still don't know, and this is why I managed to avoid not hitting the glacier, the iceberg or whatever, is that I'll tell you what I don't know. How far is Pope Leo willing to go? How far is he willing to go to beef up the Peter's pence with American center rightists? Is he willing to go so far as undoing Traditionis Custodes? How much does the left church really care about continuing the crackdown on the Latin Mass, which they hate? They hate it. They hate it like culturally and what it stands for. They were wrong. Their whole project over the last 60 years was wrong, 60 plus years. They weren't right about, they don't know the hearts of young people. Young people say that the new Mass is cringe and boring and fake and gay, because it is. And, but they care about subverting doctrine, left Caths, more than anything, this cadre of Sankt Gallen people. That's the big goal. And the one doctrine that needs to be undone, it's not Traditionis Custodes, it's not Fiducia Supplicans, Fellatio Supplicans, or whatever you want to call it. It is Amoris Laetitia, the joy of sex, by Pope Francis, the joy of love. The joy of love by Pope Francis. That's the real doctrinal, bedrock that can't be habitually taught in the ordinary universal magisterium. You can't have ordinary universal magisterium, which now has one pope sticking into the Acta Apostolicae Sedis, basically Catholic divorce. You don't have to get a confession to go get communion after you're divorced and remarried. So we can't have that habitually taught. So someone has to undo it. It has to be Leo, right? That's what I was saying. Now, I never thought Leo was going to do it, but this is the tell for whether or not he's a faithful son of the church or just another Sankt Gallen plant. But, so I don't expect him to do it. I expect him to be just another Sankt Gallen plant. What's up?
Speaking of expecting somebody to do it, people are disappointed they haven't heard After Hours.
After Hours. I forget half the time that's a Jim Gaffigan joke. So I forget how I was working it in. Sorry. Okay. But
okay,
when the top, listen.
Oh, no.
Listen to me. Shut up, everybody. When the topic is James Martin, S.J., the naughty pet himself, S.J., then anything becomes dirty because he was you can't say slip it in after dark. You can't say things like that, right? Because this is a family show. This is a family show. You listen with your family. Father James Martin, S.J., he's a Jesbian. He's a sneaky little pet. He worms his way around the Vatican. He knows his way around the Vatican. And he gets what he wants. What Slim Jim Martin wants, he gets. And he's such a naughty pet. And I forget what after hours has to do with any of this, but it had something to do with we were doing a late night after.
I think that came from a show on the Synod when you're talking about one of the synods, like when people would have these meetings after hours.
It was an after hours meeting.
Oh boy.
Father James Martin, excuse me, boy. He's meeting with the Jesbians. He's like, let me just go slip into something a little more comfortable, boys. He brought one of Grace Kelly's new Parisian designs. I'm gonna just slip into this
now
for
you've
bed.
gone too far. We're bringing beautiful Grace Kelly into this.
No.
Boy.
She likes, I'm sure, the same kind of after hours fashions that Father James Martin might. I don't know. I'm guessing. If you get your mind out of the gutter. I just meant he likes men's silk pajamas. He doesn't wear ladies' clothes. Do you know that?
Grow up, everybody.
I don't know that. Get your mind out of the gut. I wasn't saying he wears actual ladies' clothes. He could. It's not impossible. I'm not saying I know that happens. It's a distinct possibility. Doesn't mean that's what is real. Just you turn 21 and you grow up in this culture. So just stop acting like an adolescent. You too, lady. He might wear ladies' clothes to bed. He might not. Okay. So, but at any rate,
we have derailed.
I am looking at a picture of him with that. He looks like a weird gay turtle. I'm looking at the picture of him with Pope Leo XIV, and he's doing this weird thing where he's covering his crotch. You know that stance? Do you have that picture?
And
his shoulders kind of hunched like that.
Oh,
and he looks like a turtle that I won't make a shell joke. I had a funny shell joke.
That would have been too far.
Turtles. Yeah.
Yeah. The shell jokes, that's
but
too much.
He's a weird looking man, and he is meeting with Pope Leo here, and Pope Leo was very receptive to the meeting. And according to James Martin SJ, he was confirmed in his pro LMNOPQ RST ministry. And here's the thing. We know Francis played the game. So they would have a meeting. Francis would say nothing about it. James Martin, international man of mystery, spy extraordinaire, slipping and dodging through all sorts of crevices and cracks, back and forth between continents. Across the pond, he knew how he could speak freely. He could speak at will and say, yo, Francis is totally down with my agenda. And Francis could just use that weaponized silence as a confirmation that if somebody ever asked, he said, I didn't confirm anything. I don't have to say whatever I don't want. Well, Leo seems to be doing the same thing. Maybe that's why I waited till Friday to do a show, to see if the Leo pontificate would say, no, Father James, take a step back, big guy, you big gay turtle. Just calm down. Let's go at a turtle's pace. This should be second nature to you. We're not going to say that. They didn't do that, right? Maybe the real reason I didn't do the show is because this topic is passé and boring, and I'm sick of it. But who knows? Maybe I was just being circumspect. Maybe it was a little column A, little column B. But here's the thing. Let me just read this America magazine.
I wanted to address in chat. People said that your gay accent is suspiciously well refined, and I will point out that every child of the 90s, that was a good time to be alive. We would openly make fun of that accent, and all of us had like a great. Anyone who was at high school in the 90s, our gay accents are on point. Because we used this all the time.
Everyone hated figs in the 90s, all right?
And we made fun of it constantly.
It started around 2000, people were like, hey, you can't say figs. You can't talk about them. You can't talk about how gross they are. It's a dried fruit. Who likes figs? No one. What good are they? What good are they for humanity? Nothing. Nothing. No how. No ways. Figs are nothing. They're a dry, dead fruit. They don't bring new fruit to the earth, these figs. But around 2000, everyone started pretending you had to be really cutting edge to say, oh, that guy's a fig. Well, you didn't have to. I mean, I was saying it the whole time. I never stopped. They say Dre fell off. Well, I've just been here making records. So talking about figs and how gross they are and fruitless and pointless. And why are there so many in the church? Why every church meeting of churchmen are there so many? They're always bringing in all this dried fruit, the fruits of the synod. Fruit, what was it? Fruits.
Remember when it was
figs?
Remember in the 90s how, speaking of fruit, how we'd always say so and so is gay as a tangerine?
Mm-hmm.
When did that stop? That was amazing. I loved that phrase.
I think that's from The Naked Gun.
No way. Is that what is that from?
I think
so many of our references are from movies that I just forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. We digress.
And tangerines are lovely. And and again in the chat, look, if you're gonna call me like cryptically gay, then super chat me. That's fine. You can call me cryptically gay or like a closeted homo. If you're going to super chat me $100, but don't just take a
shot for free.
Jap attack sneak shot, right? Just come on, super chat it.
Grow up,
super chat if you're calling someone a homo. I mean, and it's childish and inevitable and foreseeable that someone will just be like, do the James Martin thing. Then you do it. And like, you did that a little bit well, Tim. You only have like 80 kids with this woman, but come on.
And I'm sorry, Zoomers, that you guys weren't like allowed to run wild and free like chickens, like at school, like we were. And allowed to make fun of things all the time with their teachers.
Teachers would like help you make fun of the same sex attracted. The 90s were.
It was a wild circus of a time.
It was just a good time. It's a good time to be alive. All right. Sorry, you guys. Existence in school. A lot of you didn't even go to school for the last couple of years because like COVID shut it down. And when you were in school, it was barren and clinical and surgical and sterile and disgusting. And no one made fun of, like a dude would wear a dress to school. And you're like, oh, I made a joke with my friends. I said, that guy's really a man, not a woman. And you thought that was cutting edge. I do like Zoomers and I get along well with Zoomers, but you guys you're not that cutting edge. You're really cutting edge on the internet, but you weren't that cutting edge in person because we would just be like.
We didn't have the internet. We would say these things. That's why it's funny when somebody on the internet now says, I'd like to see you say that stuff in real life. It's like, that's all we did.
A dude wears
all the time
a dress to school and you're just going to sit there and let him get away with it?
We did not let anyone get away with that.
No, I mean like that guy's going to catch a beating.
I remember one guy he thought he was new. He transferred into our school and he wore a boombox on his shoulder and that got taken care of immediately.
Because it's like we went to high school in Plano, Texas. All right, a lot of white kids, like upper middle class, angry white kids that are not going to stand for like dancing, like black style dancing, or like wiggers, or a kid wearing a dress, or a kid wearing like a boombox. It's like break that kid's boombox. It was such a great time. All right, it's just you wouldn't understand. All right. You should, but you don't. All right. So anyway, yes, Pope Leo is not going to disclaim the meeting that he had with Father James, who said that this meeting went smashingly. Pope Leo XIV received James Martin S.J. Tickle. Editor at large at America. I didn't know he's editor at large. In private audience in the Papal Library of the Vatican's Apostolic Palace this morning, September the 1st, in what is seen in Rome as a public reaffirmation of support for the American Jesuit and his pastoral ministry to LGBTQ, Catholics. I am extremely grateful and deeply consoled by my meeting with the Holy Father. He encouraged me to continue my ministry. Father Martin told me soon after the audience that lasted more than half an hour. Oh, this is editor at large is not James Martin. It's the man who interviewed him, which is named Gerard O'Connell. Cool beans. Pope Leo has the same openness to LGBTQ issues as Pope Francis had. He made clear that he wants everyone to feel so welcome. Oh, so welcome. He added, without revealing what the Pope specifically said, ooh, games. This is getting spicy. Their conversation ranged over several topics. What did they say? According to Father Martin, and it is clear, quote unquote, that Pope Leo has many priorities, and in particular is deeply concerned for peace in the world, including peace in Ukraine, Gaza, and Myanmar. His aim is peace and unity in the church and the world. Boring. Who cares? Every pope ever has said that. That's beyond boilerplate. Get to, did he say, like, homos are gross or they're cool? Come on. He found the Pope serene, relaxed, and joyful, and they laughed frequently. All right, that's a gay thing to say. Like, if you ever were like, well, what's Father Martin's deal? Does this guy, whence does he putt?
You're giggling nonstop.
He's
You're like, do you need us for any of this?
We're giggling frequently. That's not something a straight man says, in my opinion.
It's so funny because even the way this is written, it's so clearly like poking people like us in the eyeballs, because it's like, and he affirmed this, and they were laughing and joking, and they had the greatest time, and they got along so great. They're clearly writing this like
drinking highballs together,
the ketchup fights and
the popsicle tickle fights, the ketchup popsicles and the tickle fights and the pillow parties. I don't know what any of this means, but anyway, he said it was as if we were back at the synodal table.
Oh, here we go.
He added, referring to the fact that he had sat at the same table with Leo, then Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost. That's weird. His middle name is Francis, isn't it? For part of the second session of the Synod on Synodality in October 2024. The times we had. Moreover, he said, it is clear that Pope Leo intends to continue with the synodal process. Well, I believe that. Now we can get to some, it's not really news because I already knew that. As they concluded their conversation, Father Martin gave the Pope copies of 2 icons that hung in the chapel of his Jesuit novitiate in Boston, Christ the Life Giver and Our Lady Quick to Hear. Pope Leo gave him some rosaries, prayer cards, and his blessing. Pope Leo gave him like conversion therapy cards. That would be kind of basic.
Or a noogie.
Yeah, or like a swirly.
Like a wedgie, and like sent him on his way.
If you're not. It was their first meeting since Leo was elected Pope on May the 8th, but as Father Martin noted, the two men already knew each other from the 2 sessions of the Synod on Synodality in the Vatican in October 23, October 24. I get bored reading this. Then Cardinal Prevost participated in both sessions as prefect for the dicastery for bishops, and Father Martin did so as a papal appointee. Cool. Today's meeting took place in the Pope's private library, where Leo meets heads of states, international organizations, cardinals and bishops, leaders of other Christian denominations, and of the world's major religions, and other distinguished peoples. By choosing to meet him there and having the announcement of the meeting published in the official news bulletin published by the Vatican Press Office, Pope Leo could be seen as making a public statement of support for his ministry with LGBTQ people. The Chicago-born Augustinian Pope and the Jesuit author, who was born in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, had no need for translators, as had been the case with Father Martin met Pope Francis. It's just stupid. Why would 2 Americans have a need for a translator? Mm-hmm. Who writes like this besides Jesbians? In some ways, today's meeting was the message. I think this is actually on point, just as it was when Pope Francis met Father Martin for the first private conversation in this same library on September 30th, 2019. The meeting was the message. That's actually real. Francis had already appointed the Jesuit and best-selling author as a consultant for the Vatican Dicastery of Communications in 2017. Similarly, Pope Francis granted him 3 other private audiences, one in the Apostolic Palace on November the 11th, 2022, and 2 in Santa Marta, the Vatican guest house where he lived, in June 24 and October 23. He also appointed him as a voting member to the Synods on Synodality. I forgot he was a voting member in that one. In 2021, Father Martin founded Outreach. Outreach. I'm reaching for you, boys. A ministry and resource center for LGBTQ Catholics in partnership with America Media. This week, he was leading an outreach pilgrimage of some 40 people to Rome for the Jubilee year. Jubilee. So they're reaching out to Rome all together, all these fun boys, all these 40 fun boys in outreach. They're all reaching out. They're in Rome. They're on a pilgrimage. Pope Leo met them right before then. And you know what this all means. The meeting was the message. That's the whole point. Pope Leo did not disclaim what Father Martin said in the wake of the meeting. And this is exactly the move that Pope Francis used. So, Lottie frickin' da, right? Okay, we know what's up. Now, I mean, I was going to say the only interesting part of this, but it's not interesting. It's also boring. It's just slightly less boring. Catholic right-wing sort of trad media is having to walk back what they were saying the second, third, fourth day of this pontificate, when they were like, let's just give this guy a chance, as if I could stop people from giving him a chance, or if I could not myself, if I could opt as a moral agent to not give him a chance. Like, no, I'm not going to. I, Tim Gordon, am going to stop Pope Leo from having a chance. I don't even know what that means, and neither do these people. Mimetic desire is the most annoying, rat-like, cockroach-like, vermin-like thing about the human race, is that 95% of people, first off, Sturgeon's law. You're welcome for this, by the way, because you'll be applying it to everything. Sturgeon's law is 90% of everything is crap. Sturgeon got it mostly wrong, though. It's about 98% of everything is crap. And this is cool because it applies to, like, I was like a sports card collector. Like 98% of the cards in any given set are crap. They're junk wax. 98% of, I don't know if you're like a comic book dork, 98% of comic books are worthless. 98% of movies are unwatchably bad. 98% of shows are unwatchably bad. 99.9% of novels are shit. 90+% of everything is crap. That's Sturgeon's law. Mm-hmm. And it applies to, now you got to be a little careful because human beings have immortal souls, but I mean, 90% of human beings have no opinions worth listening. And it's like 99%. And that applies to Catholic media too. And I'm like the 1%. So I mean, take that for what it is. Just they all say the same thing, and they all get afraid that you're going to pull your money. I mean, I know these people behind the scenes. Most of you guys don't. They're all like, oh man, I wish I could say the true thing that you say, Tim, but like, I don't know. I have all these girls in my audience, and they're going to make their husbands pull their Patreon support if I say, we know Pope Leo is going to be at least to the left of John Paul II, which is pretty far left. But we can't say that because all these trads got like a memo or a mimetic desire flinch to say the same thing, and all the housewives start threatening their husbands to pull Patreon support for any Catholics who keep saying the obvious truth.
We have somebody like Fat JD Flynn who's out there always moralizing to everybody while being grossly overweight.
While being grossly fat and stupid. Yeah.
Lose the pounds and then consider maybe moralizing to everybody.
Flapping your gums after you clean out the cheeseburger residue, Fat JD Flynn. We're really going after people today, but I mean, that's the thing. I just get sick of the mimetic desire. If you're only going to listen to one Catholic podcast, it should be this one, and I hope it is. Because it's Sturgeon's law on steroids. And so it's not even exciting anymore when I'm like, I was right, you guys were wrong, blah, blah, blah. I don't even need to make a thing out of it because it's just so obvious what was going on. People all get scared that they're going to lose their support. And these are the same people that are like, I hate Daily Wire. I hate, Con Inc. I hate Fox News. Like, well, okay, I'm not down with all of these outfits, in varying ways. I have friends here and there, but yeah, I'm not saying I am either. But what I'm saying is that at least we can understand with those outfits that they have serious donors. They have serious buckage behind them threatening, you don't get the buckage if you don't do this. Whereas Catholics who have some donors here or there, get a threat or even just a veiled threat or an imagined threat in their mind. Well, I might lose $100 of monthly support on Patreon if I do this. It's so much weaker. Catholic media sells out so much faster. They just are like checking their chat and they're like, well, all these moms, these mad moms with a blog are saying they don't like me not giving Pope Leo a chance on his second day in office. So they're like, shut up, everyone, shut up. Everyone, you have to be as cowardly and as spineless as I am. I mean, at least Fox News or Daily Wire or Con Inc. or whatever you want to call it, TPUSA, at least they have serious Israeli shekels behind them. It takes them, 7-8 figures to sell out. These Catholic media types sell out with for over $20. You can rub two 20s together in front of them and they're like, okay, I won't say that. I'm not kidding either. I know you guys don't. That's why I don't listen to most Catholic media. It's crap. It's Sturgeon's law. Back in 2018, there were 4 Catholic YouTube channels, right? And I'm not saying they're all great, but that's where TNT jumped onto the scene. And now there's like, instead of 4, there's like 400. And it's annoying because like, I mean, at least stick with the real. Anyway, it's stupid. It's a stupid story. I was right. You know, Pope Leo's he's gonna be really, really surgical. He's gonna pick his punches. He's not just gonna let his hands go Francis style, South American style, like some crazy Argentine. You know, Pope Francis just couldn't control himself. Pope Leo's like, we need to build up Peter's Pence again. I don't know whether he's gonna, do the serious cooperation with Cardinal Burke and give us the Latin Mass back. I doubt it, but that might be the move, because that's not as important to them as keeping the lavender agenda going and the doctrinal subversion going, because that's the devil's handiwork. It's that simple. And everyone else will just say whatever the Overton window on that given day allows them to say. And it's not like a hot take either. That's just the way that the world turns. So with that said, if someone wants to call me gay or whatever, super chat it.
It costs money to do that, have that sort of privilege.
Yeah. You can't just call a straight dude gay without paying for it.
It's funny. I was just looking at JD Flynn's Twitter account, by the way.
Mm-hmm. He's
And,
so fat.
Is it literally the first picture that comes up was a table, the picture of like a dining table.
Yeah. He's hungry.
I was just, this guy.
So you guys know who JD Flynn is? He's the one that released that real nasty story on Steph, accusing her of plagiarizing her book. Totally false. So, I see Taylor Marshall went on my friend Royce White's show. I'm just looking at Twitter here. Mark Levin.
It's like Krusty the Clown. He's like, I'm going to just occupy myself off screen while your parents buy this like Camp Krusty thing.
Yeah. Just seeing if there's anything I can.
Are you doing a local only show after this?
Yeah, I will. If you guys want one. Well, I don't know what it is. So no one wants to jump in on this. I mean, I thought saying it like 10 times I was right, you were wrong would spur people on to action, but I guess people are like, we can't rebut this guy. You can try, but it's not going to go well.
Some people were saying that there was a comment earlier, and I'm trying to find it so I can put it up. And he was saying that perhaps Pope Leo was, let me look if I can find it. I can't find it. Where is he? Oh, is it possible Pope Leo is practicing the love your enemies method? I guess by inviting the naughty pet.
I don't know. It's such a boring Catholic thing to say, like, because like if he's just being nice to both sides, then it's just a hiding. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just get sick of corny, boring things as if this is what you have to say to be a Catholic. Like, who knows what love your enemies even means? Because when you're Pope, you're not supposed to have enemies within the church.
Some people were saying that there was speculation that this meeting was on the books for a while and he just honored it, that it might have been with Francis and that Pope Leo went ahead and honored
I know. It's another one of these corny, boring things to say. It's just a corny, boring thing to say, to be like, could this be because, people that are like wringing their hand? Because if you're all afraid that the Pope is not a good guy, then like, what did you do? Did you have a coma for 12 years during Francis? Like, things are okay when popes are bad guys. Where's Elijah Yazzie? Is he in the chat?
No.
Papal minimalism is the real deal. It's the way. We've had lots of bad popes, really bad guys. Maybe we need to lean into that more. Like we've had some really bad dudes in the papacy. I don't just mean Francis. I mean other really bad guys. And it doesn't, like, that's okay. That's okay. We've had bad presidents. Did it ruin the country? People just don't think. People don't understand. It doesn't. Papal minimalism is the way that Vatican I wired us. Go read the Relatio from Bishop Gasser that Pope Pius made all of the voting fathers read as a kind of hermeneutic for voting on Pastor Eternus. Just having a bad pope doesn't mean anything. We're just waiting for Jesus to come back, and we need the doctrines clean, y'all. So that's it. So this was just I was right, Joe. I mean, we'll see.
As per usual, you were right.
I mean, it's not 100% of the time, but come on. And
it's just enough of the time, I'll tell you that.
It's funny to see all of those smarmy trads that sort of turned coat on the second day of the pontificate, now sort of returning coat. And again, the Catholic cultural scene is so lame and fake and gay that people don't even call them out on it. People don't even call them out on it. It's just boring. It's so boring. There's a lot of interesting stuff that could happen soon, but you know, we need it to happen. There's a lot of stuff that's always on the brink of happening that I'm always on the brink of announcing, but I'm like, I can't announce that we're on the brink of something big. So you just end up bored. You're like, I want to actually announce this real announcement instead of talking about, oh, the Pope received this like lavender guy, and they drank and they toasted.
They're laughing.
They toasted. They're giggling and they toasted like gays. And well, the Pope is just loving his enemies. The Pope actually is super based. Or I mean, I just went through 12 years of that. What's wrong with you? It's like the opposite of Occam's razor. Give the most unifying explanation to cover the explanatory gap with the least lacunae in it, with the fewest holes, the most direct route. And you guys managed to do the opposite. Like, well, what about loving your enemies? I'm like, what does that have to do with anything, man? It's so boring. Why do Catholics think that to be Catholic, you have to be boring and say corny, boring things?
It's always like the most like obvious, banal, boring things like that, you know, like this is speculation and that's not charitable and things like that. It's like, guys, you're just not going to make it if you can't just look at something and think critically, even if it seems ostensibly quote unquote mean, I guess. I
just don't get why people don't get bored more with boring, corny stuff. Like you don't have to. Whatever. Yeah, we'll do a locals only show. I'll just continue talking shit. But I mean, we just don't need a lot of Pope shows. Unless something actually interesting breaks, we don't need a lot of Pope shows. It's going to be what it is.
And that's what I'll say. I will say that I do appreciate about Leo is that, he's been Pope for a hot minute and we really have only done like one post-Pope show and this is it. And really, we don't have to really think about him or hear about crazy things he's saying or doing. So this story is terrible, but I do at least appreciate it. It's a bit of a departure from the Francis pontificate where some fresh hell was being released every week when he was on a plane talking.
In a selfish way, I appreciate that, but it's cynical. It's just because they're building up Peter's Pence again. He's got a different natural temperament. He probably doesn't want to step into hated shoes. And so he's like, let me just chill. He doesn't seem to be naturally as annoying. Such a gadfly as Francis was. Francis was a huge gadfly, right? He would just poke people in the eyes. And it's not like he has to go defend himself. He has a whole apparatus, a whole Vatican apparatus that would defend him, and a whole, barking mad class of drones that would defend him. Remember like Michael Lofton, the fat white rapper, whatever happened to that guy? Remember how he would just be making videos about like, yeah, Pope Francis said like, there are like 6 people in the Holy Trinity. And actually you're not based unless you believe this. So like, it's not like Francis had to really ever face consequences for being such an annoying, pugnacious little gadfly. He just would say stuff and then let other people clean up his mess. And he was there to make a mess. Literally was there to make a mess. And you just get in a grumpy mood and sometimes even turn on, the lavender agenda. Sometimes even be like Frocigione. You're like, oh, okay. And then, so I just think Pope Leo has a totally different temperament. He probably doesn't hate people as much as Francis did. And he's emplaced by the same agenda, but he's probably just a nicer guy. And he's waiting a bit to build up Peter's Pence. They need them American shekels for Peter's Pence. It's like 1/3 of the donations worldwide. It's seriously that much.
That's a
it's
lot.
like 30%.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and it was impoverished because people hated Francis. Like newsflash, people just hated Francis. He was a very odious character on the world scene. He was friends with the, Davos people and the globalists and the clot shot people and Schwab. And he had the worst sort of friends. He had, his enemies were good guys. And he was just sort of a crotchety old, gross figure. He wasn't, and he said gross things. And he was like 80, whatever, and he would say gross things like "you make love to excrement." No one wants to hear an old guy talking like that. I don't care who you are. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Sweets Brown.
Yeah, yeah.
Where's Sweets Brown on this issue?
Sweet. I think it's Sweet Brown singular.
Oh my gosh.
Sweets Brown would be a whole different context. That would be like she's eating sweets. Sweet Brown. Ain't nobody got time for a pope that just talks that much trash, and Pope Leo ain't going to be the one to do it. So
yeah.
So sweet.
Boy.
So suck on that. As Michael Scott says. Yeah, I just wish people got bored more with saying corny, boring things. Then they would actually say interesting things more. But seriously, I think I am going to do an episode on, speaking of non-corny, boring things, the Tucker interview of Michael Knowles. I said, wow, what a really fun interview to watch. They talked about Catholicism half the time. And like a bunch of my audience who I'm friends with are like, oh, this guy's a whatever and the other guy's a whatever, because both of them aren't friends with Fuentes. And I'm friends with Fuentes. I like Nick and support him and support his project. But like, I'm not one of these guys. That's another corny, boring thing, to think that all your friends have to get along. Like Knowles just did a really good interview on Tucker. Tucker asked really interesting questions about Catholicism, and Knowles was like, "Are you curious about it?" And he was like, "No, but I'm not curious, but I'm curious." And every time you thought they're going to switch over to some corny, boring thing, that they just kept talking about interesting aspects of like Vatican II. He just kept poking on interesting questions. I'm like, this is just a good interview. And Knowles was a very articulate guy. So it's just so corny and boring when people think that, you can't have like, because I'm friends with Michael Knowles, I'm friends with Fuentes. Occasionally Tucker will send me a text back and forth. I wouldn't say we're friends, but you can have these people in different areas and agree with some of them about X and some of them about Y and whatever. But that was a good episode, and I encourage you to go watch it because it's just so disproportionately Catholic. And Tucker was like, everyone's coming into the church. What's up with that?
People are saying that you're the only Catholic that's made a stream about this. Is that true? I assume that because we were kind of late to the party on this one because we've been dealing with some other stuff. But it's like,
no, I don't think that can be right. No.
Has Marshall done a show on Pope Leo or anybody?
No clue what he does. I have zero clue what Marshall does. I think Avoiding Babylon. I watched part of their stream this morning. That touched on it. Oh, they said they didn't want to put it in their title because of reasons, but they streamed on it. And that was the titular topic, whether it was the titular title.
We'll see if this video stays up.
Jordan told me that a lot of other people were doing it, so whatever. So I trust that, but I have no clue.
Yeah,
what everyone else was doing. I hope people agree that we just need to keep excising corny, boring speech from our public and private discourses. Just more and more and more. Let's get rid of the political speech and saying things like, well, could this just be a love your enemies moment? Like, what does that even mean? Seriously, like what does that mean? That everybody doesn't operate from a position within the general schematic of the first principle of practical reason? Like everyone's working at some goal for the vineyard or against the vineyard, and like, come on, just stop talking about like loving your enemies. It doesn't do any good when we're trying to give a reasonable preliminary hermeneutic to a new papacy. We just want to know what's up. And all the wives out there that are like, just give him a chance. Just give him. I couldn't stop him from getting a chance if I tried. Your words have no meaning. Like if I'm like, well, here's who elected him. Here's the agenda I expect from him. I could be wrong. I'm saying this publicly. It's a fallible position. It's a falsifiable position. That's me taking a risk. If But he has the chance to prove me wrong. But like 3 months later, if he's already proved me right, then I gave him the chance, and he actually gave me the chance to just look like Miss Cleo. And guess what? I did. So it's just these housewives. Just give him a chance. Like, what does that even mean? Anyway, happy Friday. You guys have a good one. And Deus Volt. We'll see if this story develops anymore or whatever. I doubt it will. I doubt Pope Leo will say anything. We're going to do our locals show right now. We'll tell you what we really think on the locals show.
Go ahead and everybody who's a locals or a monthly supporter on YouTube, I'm going to post that link to the live stream for the locals only live stream in just a few seconds. So just check the locals page or your membership page on YouTube or subscribe star.
Just give us a chance.
Give me a chance.
Deus Volt.